Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Teslin Figaro, good morning.
Good morning, Charlamagne the God and DJ Envy.
Yo.
How was your Mother's Day?
It was wonderful. My 15-year-old, she got me a nice little gift basket of thoughtful things that she picked out for me. And so we went to brunch and had a wonderful, wonderful time. Thank you for asking.
Well, happy Mother's Day, Tess.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now let's start off with sports. The Heat beat the Knicks 96-92 on Friday. The Knicks is up out of here. And the Lakers beat the Warriors 122-101, and the Celtics beat the 76ers.
So who we got? Because I saw something interesting yesterday. The last four teams that's in the finals now were the same four teams that were in the bubble a few years ago. Lakers, Nuggets, who else? Celtics, and Heat.
Heat, yes.
Yeah. So who we got out of those four?
I say Lakers, Celtics.
I picked the Warriors at the beginning of the season.
I did too.
I'm going. I think the Nuggets will win it all.
I think Lakers, Celtics, and then I go Celtics.
I don't know who's going to come out the East. I guess I would say the Celtics could beat the Heat, but I think the Nuggets go win it all.
All right, now Teslin Figaro, Joe Biden was at that other HU over the weekend, right?
Yeah, he said the real H actually in his speech.
He better watch his mouth. He better watch his mouth.
Yeah, invoking the battle cry President Biden used to galvanize voters in the 2020 election cycle, he called on Howard University graduates to fight for the soul of the nation. Now, President Biden did receive some strong applause throughout the speech, but his message was not received by everyone. Some students visibly criticized the Biden-Harris administration treatment of African Americans. One sign said Biden and Harris don't care about Black people, and another sign read, "Stand up, fight back. Black people are under attack." Now, there were mixed reviews about how President Biden addressed white supremacy. Some said it was good that he mentioned it, and critics said that he was pandering. Check out what he had to say, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Progress over retreat. To stand up against the poison of white supremacy, as I did my inaugural address, to single out as the most dangerous terrorist threat to our homeland is white supremacy. And I'm not saying this because I'm at a black HBCU. I say it wherever I go. Stand up for truth over lies, lies told for power and profit. To confront the ongoing assault to subvert our election, press our right to vote.
Nobody would ever say President Biden is pandering if they actually implemented some legislation to oppose white supremacy. That would be my question. Like, what has Joe Biden done to assist in dismantling systemic racism? We still waiting for him to atone for his roles in the war on drugs and mass incarceration. Whether it's the 86 crack laws, the 94 crime bill, all the legislation he implemented that reinforced systemic racism. So what has he done to atone for that? They wouldn't call it pandering if you actually had implemented legislation to reverse some of those things.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I know a lot of people weren't happy with how Howard handled some of the things that they did. I know to get tickets, I know you had to be there at 5 a.m. and it didn't start to 10, so a lot of people had to wait there for 5 hours. Also, I would say this. I always thought when people come to give these speeches, it's supposed to be inspiration, right? It's supposed to be explaining their struggle and what they've been through. I hate it sometimes when these politicians go up there and make it all about them.
Well, it's campaign season.
And not about the students who, sat there for 4 years or 5 years and studied and went through everything they had to do to get possibly that diploma or their master's or whatever it may be. I hate when that happens. It should be about the students, right? And what they went through, right?
He's campaigning.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's absolutely campaigning. He addressed, issues that he, I guess, felt were important for Black people, just to be quite honest with you to say. But we talked about this before, and I've said it many times that people, they remember the promises you made, not necessarily the process. So when you stand up, and say, hey, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and this is what I'm going to make happen. And then you don't really have anything to back it up during campaign season. It kind of, it hurts you. So I think what Biden's main issue was to talk about, healing America. But it would be nice to see if some of the promises he's made, if he's actually been able to implement that, because that's what folks want to hear. The same time this was happening, Ron DeSantis was in, during a campaign speech talking about the things that they plan on doing for America. So hopefully, as they continue to campaign, they actually start talking about some of the promises that they plan on delivering on. When we talk about, HBCUs and the funding and how that fell short, and when we talk about student debt and talk about what are you going to do to help with inflation and private companies and all of that. People want to hear that. These students want to know what is going to happen after I graduate. So we'll see if that messaging tightens up as we move forward.
And Tez, you're absolutely right. But man, when you've been in politics as long as President Biden has, man, you should be able to point to some legislation that you actually implemented that has helped some people at this point. You know what I mean? To still be talking about what you want to do when you 103 years old is crazy. And been in politics for 77 years.
Jesus Christ. All right. Well, that is front page news. I just know a lot of those students went through a lot. They become, boys become men in college, girls become women in college, and the strike and the struggle and getting your college paid for and working. It means so much to get that degree. And this ain't a campaign trail. You've been saying the same thing for the last 4 years. Like, give them kids something. Let them feel some type of inspiration, or pay for that. What's the brother that paid for all their kids' college?
Robert Smith?
Right, or do a Robert Smith. Say, you know what, I'm going to take care of all you.
Well, President Biden ain't got the money Robert Smith got. At least not over the table.
Yeah,
maybe under the table.
Maybe under the table. All right.
Some of the stuff I read last week, them Biden's been getting it.
Yeah, they been getting it. All right. Tesla Figaro, we'll see you in a couple minutes. Everybody else, get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. Let us know how your weekend was. Let's talk about some things. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning. Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Now let's get in some front page news. Tesla Figaro is back. Good morning, Tez. Good morning. Now let's start off with some quick sports. The Heat beat the Knicks 96-92. The Heat moves on. The Lakers beat the Warriors 122-101. The Lakers move on, and the Celtics beat the 76ers 112-88. So now the Celtics take on the Heat, and the Lakers take on the Denver Nuggets. Now, let's talk about the man that choked Jordan Neely to death. Now, he raises nearly $1 million.
Yes, supporters are raising defense funds for Daniel Penny, the man charged with manslaughter for killing Jordan Neely on a New York City subway. Top conservatives and the National Police Association, an advocacy group representing cops, are celebrating Daniel Penny, calling him a good Samaritan. On Twitter, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, which is a possible 2024 presidential contender, urged followers to donate to Penny's fundraiser. He said, "Stop the left's pro-criminal agenda and take back the streets for law-abiding citizens. We stand with good Samaritans like Daniel Penny. Let's show the Marine that America has got his back." Very disturbing, guys.
Yeah, very, very disturbing, because no man needs to lose his life unless he felt that his life was threatened. And I don't think, from what everybody's saying, Daniel Penny's life was threatened, or anybody on that train's life was threatened. So, yeah, it doesn't seem right to me.
How do we feel about politicians picking sides in situations like this? Are politicians supposed to remain neutral?
Yeah, I feel like they should pick a side or step aside. I mean, that's the whole point of having leadership in a bully pulpit, and, being able to say what is right and what is wrong. And it's so interesting you said that, Charlamagne, because actually one of the signs that someone held up at the Howard University graduation was saying to fight and speak up for Jordan Neely. That was actually one of the signs that said that someone, just lost their life in New York, and what are you going to do about it? So obviously people want people to speak up.
Yeah, it is interesting how, in certain situations, you'll see certain politicians wait until, like, I want to hear what all the facts are.
Correct.
I want to wait until the investigation happens, yada, yada, yada. That seems to come from the left a lot. The right be like, nope, we know who's right, we know who's wrong, right, and so we riding with them.
Right. Especially what I find really, when you talk about pick a side, for the police association to step in on this. I mean, that's a very clear message that they're basically saying, hey, it's okay to be to take matters into your own hand. Yeah, to be a vigilante.
Yeah.
That's literally what it's saying. So I find that really disturbing.
And just
really
so it's clear, Jordan Neely didn't have a knife. He didn't have a gun. He didn't have anything that could actually kill somebody, right?
As far as what we know, what's been available to the public so far, he did not have anything on him. He also, folks who were on there that were witness said that he was not a threat. He was throwing trash and saying, he wanted to die. And he was, like a lot of people with mental illness that we see all the time, he was vocal, but they did not see him as a threat. Now, again, that's the information that we have that's available to us as the public. I don't know if anything else might come out, as they continue the investigation, but as of now, he was not a threat.
Now we got to talk about this Florida teenager convicted of first-degree murder, and his mom.
Yes, coming out of Mother's Day, this mother tried to help her son get away with murder. 38-year-old Crystal Smith, the mother of Aiden Fucci, a Florida teenager convicted of first-degree murder for stabbing a 13-year-old to death in 2021, changed her plea Friday from not guilty to no contest on charges of evidence tampering, a third-degree felony, which is punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Now, her son was charged as an adult, and he's currently serving life in prison, and authorities have accused Smith of washing a pair of bloody jeans her son wore after the crime. Officials say that Fucci, who was 14 at the time, stabbed Tristan Bailey more than 100 times, and Stacey Bailey, who was the mother of Fucci's victim, addressed Smith during Friday's hearing. She said, "I also pray that you will reflect upon your actions while you are without your children on this Mother's Day."
Well, but one thing about a mom, but that mom probably didn't even ask no questions. She just saw them jeans and saw that they was dirty and just got to washing.
Dirty,
you know what I mean?
bloody.
That's what I'm saying. When in her mind, she probably was like, "Why is these jeans so dirty? Is this blood?" She ain't probably asked no questions. She probably just got to washing them damn jeans.
Yeah, I think it was probably beyond dirty though. They said it was soaked with blood. So
Damn.
You don't think she knew that it was blood?
I'm sure she did, but the fact that she even still chose to wash them shows you a mother's love, man.
Yeah, but even though, I mean, you take anybody's mother, especially a 14-year-old child. If your 14-year-old child gets anything, the first thing you're thinking is to protect. And that's what she probably did. Now, the fact that this 14-year-old was charged as an adult is kind of wild. I mean, that's the wild thing. And now he deserves some type of punishment. But the fact that a 14-year-old is charged as an adult, we all do stupid things at 13 and 14-year-olds. And I get it. He stabbed somebody 100 times, but as an adult, this seems like a lot. That child is going through problems, and that child needs some mental help. But to charge him
even
as an
with
adult,
him stabbing 114 times, though, Envy?
He's 14 years old. Like that child has problems. Like you're
right.
They're
gonna sort it out in the penitentiary. He's gonna sort out all the problems in the because I mean he stabbed the girl 114 times, and she just going back to the victim sustained 49 defense wounds to her head, arms.
Oh, he's got to be held accountable.
He got to be held accountable.
He's got to be held accountable. I'm with you 100%. He's got to be held accountable. I mean, I just
he's a boy. He's a little boy at 14 years old. Like he's not developed, and I don't know what happened or the case, but I just. I thought that was the whole purpose of charging as a child and charged as an adult. Like, how do you all of a sudden say this 14-year-old is now charged as an adult?
Yeah, but I don't think you should charge him as a child and then he gets out in 4 years at 18 because if what you're saying is true and he definitely does have some mental health issues, that ain't gonna be sorted out in 4 years.
No, not at all.
Especially when you see the type of crime he committed at 14.
But do you give a 14-year-old life?
I don't know if you give him life. I don't know. I don't know, man. He took a life. I don't know. That's difficult. That's complicated. I really don't know. I don't know. What do you think, Tess?
Well, it happens to black little boys all the time. If we look at the statistics, they always see that this was a white little boy.
And I didn't know what race he was.
I didn't know what race
he was. I didn't even know what race he was.
Yeah, let's play a game. Guess what race it is? Probably would have lost because you probably would have thought he was black. And I know people say, why do you keep bringing race into it? Well, because that has everything to do with the criminal justice system and how we're charged or overcharged and seen at our young men are seen as adults. And so there are plenty of 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds that are charged, as adults for murder. So when we look at life, though, that could be a 30-year sentence, a 20-year sentence. It's not necessarily to the end of one's life. But I think in this particular situation, when I dug into the case, this was not about retaliation, revenge. It wasn't a crime of passion. He just did this just because.
Well, no, it can't be just because, though, Tess. Like something got to be wrong. Right?
Oh, well, we know something's definitely wrong with it. But I'm saying this wasn't like a crime of passion or a break. None of it is justifiable. But I'm saying this literally was he just said, hey, I want to kill somebody. And he just randomly just took this young lady's life for no reason at all. He just said, I felt like killing somebody.
Yeah, so something mentally is off.
Something's mentally is off.
For sure. But how do we, we know something's mental off, but how do we fix it? You still have to do the crime, do the time. Something's mentally off when we go to jail, when our children, go to jail as well. But they always see young black men as adults.
Yeah, and to that point, that's the reason I can't make it about race, because I don't want it to seem like like right is right, wrong is wrong. It's wrong when they do that to us too. You know what I mean? Like
that's absolutely wrong.
It's wrong when they do that to us as well. So it's like, if the justice system is broken, right, and something has to happen to this 14-year-old, which it should. Correct. I just don't know what it should be.
I just don't know how they decide. Because you have you charge somebody as a child, you charge it as an adult, right? At 18, you're supposed to be charged as an adult, correct? So how did they just say, you know what? He's 14. We're just gonna charge him as an adult anyway. I don't understand that. I don't understand it. I really don't.
I don't know the laws of that state. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, sad case regardless, and definitely rest in peace to that young lady that lost her life, and condolences to that family. Jesus. All right.
Yep.
All right. Well, that is front page news.
And make sure you subscribe to Tesla and Figaro's podcast, the Straight Shot No Chaser podcast on the Black Effect iHeartRadio podcast network.
All right. Now, when we come back, all right, Charlamagne and myself were talking earlier about Mother's Day. And,
Lord have mercy.
We were saying that, I know it's Mother's Day, but we need help.
Yeah, I got a plan for next Mother's Day. Next Mother's Day, I'm just going to go away. Like, you really got to just take your wife and just send her off to, that ain't going to work.
That ain't going to work because then you stuck with the kids.
Yeah,
you got the kids for that time.
I need you. You know what I might just have to, and it's hard, right? Because you can't even hire the babysitters and the nannies because they moms.
They
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got kids. Mm-hmm. We got to figure this Mother's
Day. All right, 800-585-1051. We'll speak to the fellas out there. How was your Mother's Day? Was your Mother's Day as difficult as mine and difficult as Charlamagne?
We got to figure this out.
Did you have to do everything, the cleaning, the cooking? You got to cut the kids' stuff up, get them ready for school, make sure their snacks is packed in the morning. If they had games and you had to be at the games, did you have to do all that yesterday?
Salute to all the fathers who know what they're doing, because I'm not one of them.
All right, we'll talk about it when we come back. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning. 800-585-1051.
Wake that ass up.
In the morning.
The Breakfast Club.